When you build yourself like a startup, the first thing you have to accept is that some people were only meant to be part of your early phase, your beta version. They were with you when you didn't know who you were yet. When you were seeking validation, when you were tolerating more than you should have, when you were still learning to say no, but growth demands shedding. No company becomes world-class by clinging to outdated systems. Likewise, no person becomes whole by clinging to people who feed their wounds instead of their worth. You must separate yourself from what hurt you not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and energetically. And this isn't about revenge or ego, it's about focus. Healing is focus, creation is focus, and every time you stay attached to someone who disrespected your value, you are leaking energy that could have gone into building the next version of you. Imagine if Elon Musk still listened to every critic who told him PayPal was enough, or if Steve Jobs only focused on who betrayed him at Apple instead of returning with a clearer vision. They focused on the product. You must do the same, but in your case, you are the product. That means refining your habits, your thoughts, your beliefs like a builder refining code. You test what works, you remove bugs, you double down on strengths. And yes, sometimes it means a complete pivot, changing directions entirely when the current path only leads to repeated breakdowns. Now, the most dangerous belief we carry is this: if I love them enough, they'll change. But that mindset will bankrupt you faster than any failed business idea. Because while you're waiting on their potential, your present is being spent in pain. Real transformation never comes from dragging someone along. It comes from choosing to walk alone until you're strong enough to walk with someone who's also done their work. You can't pour energy into building something meaningful, a business, a body, a life, while your mind is occupied with emotional survival. If you're constantly guessing where you stand with someone, constantly repairing damage they caused, constantly shrinking to keep the peace, how do you expect to grow? Every startup has limited resources. Time, focus, energy, so does your soul. And if you're investing those in people who only take from your balance sheet, you're heading for emotional bankruptcy. People will say, "But I've known them for years." Yes, and sometimes that's the problem. Familiarity doesn't equal compatibility. History doesn't guarantee a future. Some people are bookmarks in your life. They marked a chapter, but they're not meant to write the whole story. The most powerful decision you'll ever make is to build yourself, even if it means being misunderstood. Even if it means sitting with loneliness instead of chasing temporary company. Even if it means crying some nights because you miss them, but still choosing not to go back. That's not weakness, that's strategy. That's self-respect. When you stop holding hands with what hurt you, you free both of yours to build. You start developing emotional discipline. You learn to sit with discomfort instead of running back to chaos. And slowly, the space they left is filled with something better: clarity, confidence, and creativity. You are not broken. You are becoming. And becoming requires you to let go of anything that keeps you small. You are your most valuable startup. Protect your vision, cut the dead weight, and build with purpose. Letting go is not a loss, it's a launch. Attachment is suffering. It sounds simple, but it's one of the most difficult truths to live by. We attach to people, to outcomes, to memories, to expectations, and in doing so, we chain ourselves to things we can't control. We hold on thinking that holding on is love, loyalty, or strength, but more often than not, it's fear. Fear of letting go. Fear of being alone, fear of the unknown, and that fear becomes the prison we live in. You can't heal while holding hands with the person who hurt you. You can't build peace on top of pain. Yet, we do it all the time. We cling to people who broke us, convinced that if we just love them harder, if we're more patient, more forgiving, they'll finally become the version of themselves we imagined. But attachment doesn't change people. It only delays your healing. It ties you to the same cycle, the same lesson, the same hurt over and over. Attachment is often disguised as hope. You tell yourself they'll change, that the good times will come back, that maybe, just maybe, this time will be different. But what you're really doing is sacrificing your inner peace for a fantasy, a version of reality that doesn't exist. And the longer you stay there, the more disconnected you become from yourself. Because deep down, a part of you already knows the truth, it's just not ready to accept it. The mind wants answers, closure, validation, but the heart doesn't operate on logic. It remembers feelings, warmth, moments, even if they were followed by silence, neglect, or betrayal, and so we stay, we rationalize, we attach, we believe that love means enduring suffering, but that's not love. That's addiction to pain. That's a lack of boundaries dressed up as compassion. True love doesn't hurt you repeatedly. True love doesn't make you question your worth. True love doesn't drain you. And if you're holding on to someone who makes you feel small, anxious, or invisible, it's not love you're feeling. It's fear wrapped in the memory of who they used to be or who you hoped they'd become. Healing begins the moment you stop waiting for someone else to fix the wound they caused. It begins when you stop asking them to understand, to apologize, to come back. It begins when you choose to sit with the pain instead of running from it, when you choose your future over your familiarity. Letting go is not easy. It's not a one-time decision. It's 1,000 little choices, not texting them back, not checking their social media, not replaying every conversation in your mind. It's waking up some days and feeling like you're drowning in silence, but still choosing not to reach out. It's learning to stand in the emptiness without rushing to fill it. But that emptiness, that's where the healing happens. That's where you find yourself again, without their voice in your head, without their weight on your chest, without their energy clouding your clarity. You begin to remember who you were before them, or maybe you meet yourself for the first time. Attachment makes you think you need someone else to feel whole, but wholeness isn't something they can give you, it's something you reclaim. Every time you choose yourself, you get stronger. Every time you don't go back, you heal a little more, and slowly the pain loses its power. The memories fade, the grip loosens. You realize that peace is not something they took, it's something you stopped giving to yourself. And when you let go, truly let go, you make space for something real, not perfect, not painless, but honest, free. You learn that detachment isn't coldness, it's self-respect, it's clarity, it's knowing that your heart is too valuable to be handled carelessly. So stop holding hands with what hurt you. You are not healing by staying connected to the pain. You are only keeping the wound open. Choose yourself again and again until the love you have for your own well-being becomes louder than the pull of what's breaking you. Healing is hard. Letting go is harder. But suffering is optional. And the moment you understand that attachment is the root of that suffering, you start to free yourself not just from them, but from the version of you that thought you needed them. Freedom is found in focus, not in distraction, not in revenge, not in trying to prove your worth to someone who never saw it. Real freedom begins the moment you decide to stop scattering your energy and start directing it fully toward yourself, toward healing, growth, and purpose. You can't become who you're meant to be while still holding hands with the version of your life that broke you. You can't evolve while staying loyal to the people and patterns that kept you stuck. We live in a world full of noise. Everything pulls your attention, the opinions of others, the people who left, the what-ifs and the whys. And if you're not careful, your mind becomes a battlefield of unfinished thoughts and unresolved emotions. That's where you lose yourself, not in the breakup, not in the betrayal, but in the lack of focus that follows. You replay old conversations like they hold the secret to your peace. You imagine different outcomes. You scroll, compare, overthink, and all the while, your energy leaks out of you like water through open hands. But focus, real, disciplined focus, is the most powerful form of self-love. It says, I matter more than my past. I matter more than who left. I matter more than the pain. When you begin to direct your focus inward, you begin to reclaim your life. You start to notice how much time you've spent living for someone else's story, waiting on a text, begging for closure, questioning your worth. None of that is freedom. That's emotional captivity disguised as love. The truth is, you can't heal while holding hands with the person who hurt you. Healing requires space, mental, emotional, spiritual space. As long as you're still connected to them, even in your thoughts, you're not fully connected to yourself. Your attention is divided. Part of you is trying to move forward, while another part is anchored in the past, hoping for validation or understanding. But focus means choosing one direction. It means cutting off everything that pulls you backward, no matter how familiar it feels. It's easy to confuse healing with distraction, to think you're moving on because you're busy or talking to someone new. But true healing is quiet. It happens when you finally sit with your pain instead of running from it, when you choose not to call, not to chase, not to beg, when you realize your future depends on what you give your attention to right now. And if your focus is still wrapped around a relationship that drained you, then you're delaying your own breakthrough. Focus doesn't mean you never think about them. It means you don't stay there. You learn to notice the thought, feel it, and let it pass like a cloud in the sky, not a storm you have to drown in. That kind of clarity takes practice. It takes boundaries. It takes reminding yourself every day, I choose me, I choose my peace, I choose my future. You'll be tempted. You'll want to check on them, ask how they're doing, wonder if they miss you. But ask yourself what part of you still needs that story to continue. What part of you is afraid that without them, you're not enough? That's where the real work is. Focus helps you face those wounds, not avoid them. It teaches you that the only person you need to be enough for is yourself. Eventually, that focus becomes your freedom. You stop caring who watches. You stop explaining your worth. You stop letting pain be your narrative. Instead, you create, you learn, you build. You find purpose not in who left, but in what you can now become. And from that stillness, that discipline, that choice, a new version of you rises, one that isn't begging to be seen, one that isn't defined by a broken story. Let go of the hand that hurt you, not because you hate them, but because you love yourself more. Channel everything you once gave to them, the time, the energy, the love, and give it back to you. Focus on becoming so deeply rooted in who you are that no one else's absence can shake your peace. Because the truth is simple, you are not lost, you are just distracted. Come back to yourself, focus, and be free.